Welcome learners. In the first session, we discussed the need for value education. We discussed the various social evils and social malaises which are existing in the society. Now we move on to the first lecture. Let us continue with this is the first unit on social malaise and need for value education. We have finished the first session where we discussed the social evils, the social malaises which exist in the society, the need for value education, the relationship between education and value education. So that was the first lecture. Now we continue with the second lecture. This is part of the first unit, which is social malaise and the need for value education. We have completed the first lecture. Now this is a continuation of the first unit. We will move on to what is called the role of parents in value education. I touched upon the brief role of parents in terms of why they are so much important in imparting values to the children. We are born into a family where we have parents, we have grandparents and other members of the family. And the parents are the first role models from whom you learn values. It is the parents who instill values in the children. It is very important for the parents to instill values in the children because children observe their parents, and at times parents need not say anything, but because in the family the children and the parents have so much of bonding that children without saying unconsciously also observe how the parents are behaving, how parents are, in terms of how they speak, in terms of the parents' relationship between the mother and the father, or with the siblings in terms of the parents may stay with the father, brothers or sisters, and also the grandparents. So children are very, very alert when it comes to unconsciously observing them, consciously, unconsciously observing how the parents behave, how they speak to each other, how the father and the mother speak to each other, how the father and mother speak to their parents, that is how the parents talk to the children's grandparents. So the role of the parents is very important. Like I said in the beginning of the lecture, the child's first learning environment is a home and parents are the first teachers. Parents demonstrate the appropriate behavior by their actions because they learn by observation and conditioning. Like I said, at times when children observe their parents fighting, especially in the beginning of their life, in the first phase of their life, when they observe, they will feel that this particular behavior of the father and mother fighting is taken as a standard procedure, and the children may in future reflect this in their action. They may continue this action when in future they get married. So it is very important for the parents to know what to say or how to behave in front of their children. The education at home as a term represents educational impact of the family on children. It has proved that in various family environments, children do acquire a variety of experiences through performing various activities and is constantly exposed to a range of influences and expectations from the people he or she cohabits. So when we talk about the people a child cohabits, it means the family members with whom she or he lives with, that is the parents. When we talk about the education at home, When we talk about the home environment, we have talked about how the home is the first school for the children. We have talked about how the home environment, if the home environment is good, if it is peaceful, then we have happy, healthy children growing up, and we will see that when children grow up from a healthy, from a good environment, peaceful environment, they in future become good citizens of the country, they become good human beings, they become good members of the society. And when we talk about how the actions of the parents affect the children, let me give you an example. Let's say children observe their parents on the mobile all the time, and parents not having enough time for the children. This is one instance. Then when we see that parents, when they come back from office, if both the parents are working or if either of the parents are working, when we see that immediately as soon as the parents or one of the parents, they come home, they touch the mobile, or they do not give time to the children, they immediately switch on the computer, Wi-Fi, or watch the TV, we find that these children who observe their parents through these actions may in future cultivate the same action. So it is very important that parents cultivate actions, they act according to what they want their children to, how they want their children to behave in future. So it is very important that in this age of technology, when you have so much of Wi-Fi facilities, when you have so much of updating technology, parents should give time to the children. Parents should have what is called communication with the children, because like I said, there is a lot of instances, there is a lot of common practices now. We see that this is a common sight, this is a common picture, this is a common image in a lot of families in a society today, where children are in their own rooms playing games, watching the internet, and then the parents in a separate room watching television are preoccupied on the mobile. So it is up to you and me, especially the role of the parents, to inculcate a habit of communication, inculcate a habit of bonding. And also, when as children they see this particular behavior of the parents, it is very important for the children as well to demand time from their parents. For example, let's say a child see his parents or his or her parents or one of the parent coming back from office. He or she can go and open the door and ask how the parents are, ask how the work was in the office, and with this particular gesture, communication the communication will start, and then this precious bonding, this time between the children and the parents will increase from time to time. So children also have a very important part to play. They should at times take initiative to speak to the parents, ask them about how work has been in the office. They should also come and share their problems. They should come and share the achievements with their parents. So this bonding with time will increase, and it is high time that all of us, and majority of us who do not have so much of time to spend with the children, can start spending time with children, can start increasing our communication level with the children. Let me give you another example how family members, especially the parents, can spend time with the children. We see that if both the parents are working, a lot of time these family members, the parents, may not have time to give to their children. So what the father can do is, in the morning when the child goes to school, before the child goes to school, the father can dress up the child. The mother would be busy cooking in the kitchen because she has to make lunches for the family as well as for the children. So how the father can spend time with his or her children before going to office, before the child or the children goes to school, is the father can take part in dressing up the children, dressing up the child in the school uniform, and also the family, they can take breakfast together, they can eat breakfast together. And then if the child goes by school van, the time that the father can spend to drop his child or children to the van stop, to the bus stop, those are precious little time when a father can spend time with his child or his children. And then the mother, usually in majority of the cases in family, is the one who makes breakfast, who make lunches for the family. So when it is time for the family to eat breakfast, all the family members can eat breakfast together. So this is how one can cultivate values of spending time with each other. This bonding will increase family values. It will increase what is called communication, because in today's time a lot of communication is missing, and we see that at times inside the four walls of the home, we find that at times family members speaking to each other through WhatsApp. So this should not be the case. It is very important to verbally engage with each family members through communication. And in today's circumstances, the family, like I said, has a huge and very tough responsibility, as it has to take proper care on their health, their physical development, their overall education of the children, the development of their intellectual affinities, as well as creation for a better moral values and convictions and attitudes and habits to affirm and well-behave cultural relations in the family itself, as well as in the society where the child lives. So we see that family, because when we say family, the parents, because it is the parents who look after the children or the child, and in a lot of families both the parents work, or it is the father or the mother who is the main bread earner in the family. So they have a lot of responsibility. Every family, every parents very dream is to educate their child, to send their child or children to a proper educational institution, and not only that, to have a proper upbringing in terms of bringing up a healthy child, bringing up healthy children. And also when there is a lot of focus on this aspect of education, that is sending the children or the child to a good educational institution to develop their intellectual affinities, and also to have a sound physical development, a healthy development. At times the moral values, that is value education, at times may take a backseat, because in this very competitive world, in this world where there is a race to be the best, especially in terms of education, in terms of the marks, in terms of the results in the schools, in terms of what seats your child or children will get through in an engineering college or in a medical college. So in this age of very competitiveness, it is very important that parents have what parents have in them and cultivate in their children moral values, and also convictions to fight for injustice, and also develop what is called a healthy attitudes. And as I said, family is the first home school to learn values, and family is the first school which teaches socialization. It is The family, which is the first school which teaches you socialization. And when we talk about socialization, it means how one interact with other members of the society, how you interact with your neighbors, how you interact with, let's say, if you have a maid in your house, if you have your the security guard in your locality, how you interact if you have drivers of a vehicle which is used by your parents or by you. So it is very important that moral values, positive attitudes and habits are inculcated by the parents. And when we talk about family as the first school which teaches you values, family, it is very pertinent for family to have to give time, especially the parents, to give time to their children. It is a give and take relation. The children should also give time to the family should also give time to the children. Like I said, if you cannot have lunch together because one of the parents or both the parents are working, then at least have a time for dinner together. It may take you just 15 to half an hour to have that family dinner together, but those 15 half an hour is very precious for the family members to talk about the proceedings of the day, proceedings in terms of what the parents or the father or mother went through in the work, and what the child or the children went through in the school. So it is very important to take out a time for each other, because what is lost time never comes back. So one has to give time. Time is one of the most precious gift that you can give to each other. On the other hand, the family as an institution has to create conditions for development of positive relationship towards work, which as such is a predisposition towards a better establishment of a realistic approach for a better development of the children's personality. When we see that in a particular household, the parents working, the parents being very careful in what comes out of the mouth, the way they behave, their actions, the way they speak to each other, politeness, and also the very fact that when parents have a positive attitude towards work, positive attitude towards their office, positive attitude towards the relationship between each other, then consciously and unconsciously it cultivates what is called a realistic approach for a better development of the children's personality. Because when you see what is in front of you, when you see certain images, when you see certain actions which are taking place in front of you, let's say you see your parents behaving in a very cordial manner to each other, being very polite to each other, when you see your mother or your father working hard for the family, going to office or cooking in the kitchen, making good food for you, so children, by observing what is in front of you, they cultivate what is called a very positive attitude towards work, towards relationship, and it helps to a better development of the children's personality. So family as an institution, family as the first school which teaches you socialization is very important. So learners, when we talk about what is value education, we have talked about how value education is very important for you to cultivate, to become a better members of the society. Then we have also talked about how social malaises, social evils are increasing day by day in the society. We have a lot of social evils which are taking place. So it is very important for us to create awareness in us, to create awareness in others. I know that you and me have values within us, but these values may be suppressed. So it is time for us to increase this awareness of values, to reflect these values in us, so that you and me can have better relationship with each other. So in this first lecture, we have talked about the relationship between education and value education. We have talked about the major social cultural malaises prevalent in Indian society, and we have talked about the role of parents. And when we talk about the malaises of Indian society, it is not just the role of the parents, or it is not just the role of one group of society. We have talked about how important it is for a holistic approach to tackle these social malaises. We have talked about how important it is for the community activists. We have talked about how important it is for the religious leaders to tackle these social malaises. We have talked about the importance of civil society organization to talk about the social malaises, and also the role of you and me to tackle this social malaises. So a brief summary to what we discussed today. We have talked about how one can, we have discussed about the social evils, we have talked about the relationship between education and value education, and we have talked about the role of parents. So with this particular session on the malaises of Indian society and the need for value education, I hope that you have understood what are the social malaises, what are the social evils which are taken place and prevalent in the society, what is the role of parents, what is the role of us as members of the society to cultivate and to increase value, so that we are able to reduce the social malaises in our society. So with this, I finish the first two lectures. In the next class, we will talk about the role of teachers in value education. Thank you.